And if you had 31 federations contesting for elections and you have 3 having issues, I think that is more than an A. So the issues were basically engineered by ministry staff who wanted to favor a few candidates, or who just wanted their pound of flesh, as in my case. But it wasn't a problem in the tennis election, because I considered, I was like, it's not a problem for me, I don't have to be president. But say in athletics, you had a Rosa Collins who came through the NAWIS.
That's right.
They had a proper election, but in the last minute, her name was substituted.
But they still cleared her to contest.
They cleared her to contest, but it was a bit late. But that was an issue. A little bit of fracas had gone on before that was remedied. Okay, there was a Bewele who are here. They said 1 or 2 papers were missing from his files, and he was the technical person, rectangle rep, and he was not allowed to contest. Now, if it is true that he had those papers, originals of those papers with him, and he showed them at that point, then you should think that he should be allowed to contest. So obviously, the technical people, the bureaucrats who were running the elections, obviously had the agenda. But you see that if there was sincerity of purpose and good faith, these guidelines were perfect. The whole process has been expanded to include state representatives, so it's widened. It's just not 13 people that can be manipulated. You just needed 7 to take care of 7 people and your president. Now you're talking about 40, 45 people. That's right. And the whole process was monitored.
And you must first win from the zone.
From the zones. So everything was monitored up to 11:30 p.m. And then between 11:30 p.m. and 8 a.m., the bureaucrats in the ministry did their magic. But the point we need to make is that Taekwondo, where Ashiru was technical rep or international rep, unopposed, his name was out from the list by the morning. Wow. Okay, so these are, but luckily the whole process has an appeal process. That is, if in Ashiru's case, he has to appeal. That's right. And if it's found that he meets all the criteria, I think the appeal committee will do their job. It's like the regular political elections where the votes at the ward or at the state level can be manipulated.
But Godwin, all of these issues I understand, but in your case, did you agree with them when they told you that you cannot contest?
No, I just raised an objection, and I said, look, up to this morning, even in the papers, there was a release saying that independent candidates should be allowed to contest.
That's right.
During the inauguration of the Electoral Committee, the Honorable Minister Solomon Dalong took time to explain to the electoral committees why they should allow everybody, those who have met the deadline and whose papers were in order, to contest. Because he said it would be unfair. Because if you don't do that, people will go and block people at the zones. You won't have business savvy or serious-minded people who don't want to go through all the challenges of going through the zones or states, come and present themselves for the presidency or vice presidency. He took time to explain that to them. Right. And then, because we could smell some plot in the ministry saying that they were going to exclude some people based on these, on the zonal or representative criteria, which was not there. But for me, I said it was not a problem because I don't have to be president to do what I'm doing.
That's right.
And if it is because we had come up with a reform agenda that most people, most people who are not in sports for the general good, don't like, then so be it. I mean, it's a small price for me to pay. But the important thing for me is that all the main points that have held sports back were addressed in these elections and in the reforms and in the guidelines. For instance, the question of term limitations is now in place.
That's right.
Okay, so you don't want to create an empire for yourself, 24 years, hold a sport to the ground and not do anything. The Electoral College has been expanded.
Fantastic.
So you have all state chairmen now there to elect who their president be. How can you say you're a federation and the state associations do not have a say?
Which is where development starts.
Which is where because if they can't hold you to ransom,
that's right,
then you can let them be and not do anything. But now the development has to go through the grassroots, which is part of the reform committee's agenda, that it has to go to the grassroots, and it cannot go to the grassroots if the state associations are not involved.
That's right.
So if they're involved from the electoral,
it empowers them.
Yeah, it empowers them. The other point was that those who want to become presidents and vice presidents of the federation can come from anywhere, independent, so that you can attract business savvy, open-minded, passionate people to come into the sport. Okay, so those milestones were achieved in this election, and then, of course, excluding the ministry staff from being on the board of this federation, because you cannot be the supervisor and then the supervised, and they didn't like that, and so if it's because of that, I don't have to be president of the tennis federation, so be it. But we need to take this to the next level. I am sure this is the first election, and I keep repeating that if we only had problems in 2 federations, basically the Athletics Federation, where names were substituted, manipulated, etc., by the cabal in the ministry.
What were you telling me things I want to hear? Let me pause you. We will continue this discussion. You know what? It's kind of interesting. Let's take a breather. When we come back, Godwin will talk more about who are these persons that don't want development in our sports. Don't go anywhere. Stay.